We're going to have a play on each team here. And Beltway Ben, what is standing out to you in the AFC North markets?
Yeah, I'll start with the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to go with Joe Flacco here. I'm going to go with him to start week one for the Browns at plus 110. Now, you look at the quarterback room, right? Kenny Pickett is the second best odds, and it's pretty tight. It's a tight race between him and Flacco. Quite honestly, I don't think Pickett's there. And if he is, it's in backup form. You can't head into week one of the season with him as your starting quarterback. And again, personally, I don't think he's there week one. But if he is the backup. And I guess they try to sneak one of the rookies on the practice squad, however they do it. But the rookies aren't ready. And Flacco has the experience, which I never thought. If you would have told me 7 years ago that Joe Flacco would be starting week one in the NFL right now in 2025, I would have told you you're crazy. But here we are. He continues to do it. And again, like, this isn't all season we need. This isn't 7 starts we need. We need him to start week one. And when you look at the 4 quarterbacks that they have that are competing for that spot and that the odds are on, I just don't see how it's not Joe Flacco in at least week one. If they want to sell tickets or do whatever they want, they might go a different way. But week one, you're going to get people there. Anyways, I just don't see how it's not Joe Flacco. At plus 110, it's too good for me to pass on. Next, we will go to the Ravens, where I'm going with Zay Flowers, 1,000+ yards. Again, this is another play at plus 135 that I just couldn't pass on, right? He did it last year. Since they started playing 17 games in 2021, around 25 receivers are breaking 1,000 yards per year. You don't think Zay Flowers is going to be in the top 25 receiving at full health? Like, I don't know what to tell you. We've heard Todd Monken just talk him up and down about how good he is. And he also probably hurt the Ravens a little bit in contract negotiations when he talks about being able to use him out of the backfield and getting him quick passes there and then saying, well, we hope we can't use that in contract negotiations. But again, that is the type of guy that they will use him and the type of player that he is. They can get him on easy passes. He's very good after the catch. So Zay Flowers, 1,000+ yards. He did it last year, and that was also in the final game of the season. He only played, the first half because he dealt with the injury. So I don't think 1,000 yards will be too hard for him to break. Next is Joe Burrow, 4,500 passing yards at plus 190. Like, the more we talk about it, the more you realize, wow, this defense is really going to be what it was last year, possibly worse. Like, there's no way the defense is any good, which means that offense is going to have to put up yards. He's over this in 2 of 5 seasons in the NFL. One of them, he went under it by 25 yards. I think he's going to be throwing the football all across the field. And last year, he led the NFL, 4,900. 45 is all we need at plus 190. Too good for me to pass on. You got both wide receivers back. The offensive line has some question marks, but Joe Burrow is going to throw the football. And he's been relatively healthy over the past year, right? We know all the injuries he dealt with, but as the season went on, we saw him start feeling better and better. And he was talking a little bit better because he's been pretty honest when talking about the injury, which probably the team doesn't love. But again, I think he's in a better spot now. And then lastly, I hate to do this. I don't hate this guy as much as Jason does, but I am not a fan of him at all. Aaron Rodgers, 4,000+ regular season passing yards at plus 440. Now, it's the value. It's all in the plus 440. You know that Arthur Smith wants to run the football. However, Aaron Rodgers will tell Arthur Smith how they run things. Aaron Rodgers is going to be running that offense. He's going to check into what he wants. And when you look at it, like, he's gone over this a bunch. Last year, he finished 103 yards short. Now he gets DK Metcalf. They just went out and got one of the better tight ends last year in Jonnu Smith. I just think he's going to be throwing the football a ton. And he's went under it in the last 3 years. One, of course, he missed a full season with injury. But before that, he went over in 4 straight years. Not the same guy at all. I'm not saying that. In Green Bay was a completely different situation. He had a better offensive line situation. However, like, they're bringing him in to throw the football. This isn't Russ where it's going to be, yes, sir, I'm handing the football off. I don't care. Aaron Rodgers is going to do what he wants. And at plus 440, it's just too good of value. When I was looking through the odds, he's like the second best odds for 4,000+ passing yards. So it's too good to pass on for me. I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers, 4,000+ passing yards at plus 440.
It's interesting. Ben and I don't compare notes. We do our own thing, and we don't, like, he knows what I took when I send it in the morning because he's building the graphics, because I don't know how to do that because he's way smarter than me. But it's not like we're talking about these at all. We do our own process. We do our own things. And I'm on all teams and he's on players, but it's odd because there's kind of like correlation between the way that we're seeing things. And I'm with you on Rodgers. Like, I think Rodgers goes over that number. 4,000 is not what it used to be by any stretch of the imagination. And look, when Mike Tomlin puts the entire offense on hold for 3 months to get Aaron Rodgers to come in, it's Aaron Rodgers' show. And they're adding weapons for Aaron Rodgers. So Yeah, like let's go with my Steelers bet. So I played the Steelers to finish second in the division, in part because I think as much as I can't stand Aaron Rodgers, like it's an upgrade over Russ Wilson and Justin Fields last year. Like it just is. Like you look at their assortment of pass catchers now, it is a better group. Jonnu Smith with Freiermuth is a whole different dimension now. Them having two tight ends who can catch the ball and those two body types on the field at the same time, as much as Rodgers likes to use the middle of the field, like I think that's huge. Like they upgraded at receiver, like they just did. And Pickens knew he wasn't long for that place. So now you bring Metcalf in and you make him feel good about it, like, and you get him a veteran quarterback, like that's going to be better. Getting Najee Harris out of there is addition by subtraction. Warren's the better runner. Warren's the more explosive guy. Warren needs to be utilized in space, and the old school 3 yards in a cloud of dust with Najee Harris was just getting in the way. Like, I think it's a decent offensive line. If they're remotely healthy on defense, forget about it. Like, this is the first time in a long time I look at their secondary, and I'm like, it might not be the weakness of the team. I know Watt's been breaking down, and when his brother started to break down, it became a problem. Like we talked about the Bosa's yesterday with Buffalo, and like I do think, you know, that when a guy starts to go, he starts to go. But with the talent around him, with Tomlin and the defensive coaches in place there have had a lot of success. I think they know how to play their strengths, and they're always in it. If it was all these mercenaries and it was some young head coach who was in over his head, I would be like, that's not going to work. But Tomlin's been dealing with this kind of stuff forever, so I like the Steelers to finish second in that division. And if you're with me and you like that, then I would say also do what I do and sprinkle on exact order Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Cleveland. Because really it's second and third, right? Like I guess maybe there's some people who think Cincinnati can catch Baltimore. I don't. Baltimore's more balanced. Like Baltimore's special teams, which haven't been good, would have to cost them a whole bunch of games with a kid kicker and a bad punter. And then maybe that closes the gap. But I think the Ravens, on paper, are the best team in football. I think the Steelers can at least split with Cincinnati. And again, the Steelers have a better head coach. The Steelers are just better at not falling apart. I think the Steelers' chemistry, even with Rodgers, could be better than Cincinnati, where they always start slow. They still got the Hendrickson thing to work out. And Cincinnati's defense is just horrible with Hendrickson or without him. They haven't done nearly enough to upgrade it. And I think everybody thinks Cleveland's bringing up the rear. I mean, a lot of people think Cleveland, and we'll just go there now. Like, a lot of people think Cleveland could compete with the Saints, if I do, for the fewest wins in football, Beltway Ben. So, like, I'm going to wait for Cleveland to play them to be the last team to win a game. I have not seen this populated yet. I keep searching. It will populate. The last undefeated team and the longest winless team, those odds will formulate. And while the Saints team total is under the Browns, I think the Saints' first 7 or 8 weeks, I see more winnable games than I see for the Browns. So I think the Browns could be 0-7 and the last team to win a game. If you're itching to do something on them right now, you know, you could still play them like under 3.5 wins or something like that, which I've also dabbled with. That brings us to the Bengals. Well, if you're with me and you think the Steelers might be better than them, are 3 teams from this division going this year with the AFC West looking a little bit better? I don't think so. So plus money on the Bengals to miss the playoffs. Again, it's a coach who's been in some hot water. It's an owner who traditionally can't get out of his own way. They're building a team in the modern era where offenses are more prolific than ever that can't stop anybody. And we saw the Bengals lose, 5-6 games last year when they scored over 30 points. And with the traditional slow starts, I just, if you're making me bet them to make it for no money or miss for this value, I'm going to say a team that often misses will miss. And then with the Ravens, we did the exercise yesterday with our favorite Super Bowl bets. You, me, and EK all had the Ravens in the Super Bowl from the AFC. Doesn't mean we're right. Hell, it might be the kiss of death, but we're all bullish on the Ravens. It's not a hellacious schedule for them. If they can survive the first 6 weeks and go 4-2, I think it sets up really well for them later in the season. Hardball teams generally get better later through the season anyway. Like that, it might take them some time to sort out the kicker thing. If the rookie Loop isn't ready, big Looper. If he's not, they'll address it during their bye week. But I think the Ravens could go to the Super Bowl and, If they do, well, we're going to cash.
Before we got to
Yeah.
Before we got to overtime, I did want to ask you, right? We talked about the Steelers, and we didn't fully get into the trade yet. After that trade, so we did these odds, right? And the trade, of course, comes the day before, which was perfect timing. So we were kind of talking about new stuff. After adding Jonnu Smith, who's going to be versatile, and they can use him in a bunch of different ways. And then they add Jalen Ramsey. Everybody makes a thing about Minkah Fitzpatrick, but Ramsey's probably going to line up at safety a little bit. He's going to play outside corner. He's going to play slot corner. He'll do it all. How do you feel about that trade, and do you think that realistically takes them to a true contender?
Well, I think it takes them to enough of a contender that I think they're more balanced than Cincinnati. The last stand thing sometimes scares me, but like Rodgers is now 2 years removed from the Achilles, and I think he'll be better this year. I know he'll start better this year. I think he's going to let it all hang out because he knows this is it. I do think the Jonnu Smith thing is a big deal. Like, he's not just a throw-in. Like, the trade got made because he's in it. Freiermuth is a plow horse. This guy is a little bit more of a matchup nightmare. And having those two on the field at the same time, I think will open things up. I mean, you just look at the assortment of body types that they have now. Like, I find it pretty interesting. They have 4 different guys they could throw in the slot who I think Rodgers will enjoy throwing the ball to them. I think Metcalf in the slot on one side, Jonnu Smith in the slot on the other side could be problematic. Like, I do think they'll run the ball more explosively, so therefore more efficiently, which will help them. I think this force feeding of Najee Harris the last few years bogged them down and slowed them down. It killed them on first down. I think Aaron Rodgers, to your point with the 4,000 yards, like Aaron Rodgers is going to be looking for high percentage throws on first down. I think Warren is an interesting guy. How many balls does Warren catch? Like, I bet Warren goes, I haven't looked, but whatever that total is for receptions and receiving yards, I bet he goes over, and I bet he's a monster yards after the catch. So, yeah, and I also think, like, there's guardrails there for Aaron Rodgers. Like, he can't get away with the crap he got away with Woody Johnson and his kids, being the buffoons as owners that they've been. Like, Jets ownership has been a problem forever. Like, this is the Rooney family. This is Mike Tomlin. Like, I think Aaron Rodgers for 1 year can turn on his Eddie Haskell, and be, at least outwardly project a better self of him than we've seen. So, yeah, I think the trade is significant for them, and it caps, a pursuit. They've been pursuing Jonnu Smith for a while. They've been trying to get Minkah somewhere where maybe he'll be less of a headache for them. They know what they're getting in Ramsey, but let's be real. This is 1 year. You know what I mean? This is about 1 year. It's not about managing Jalen Ramsey the next 2 or 3 years.